Aquaman 2 flopping, well, it's not in great shape. At this point, it's made around 30 million, but going into Monday, it should finish with about 40 million, which is a massive drop from the first Aquaman, which was a much, much better film and had about 70 million. And eventually, Aquaman 1 made over a billion, whether 1.15 or 1.2 billion. Very impressive performance box office, and this is a very sharp contrast. And although I don't think Amber Heard is the number one reason this thing is struggling, she is a major, major reason. Because internationally, Aquaman is not doing great, but it is actually doing very solid. So overall, it should get about 120 million. Now, it's still going to be a challenge for them to get about 450 million for this thing to break even, but it is possible because at this point, Ant-Man 3 had a massive, massive opening. It was very impressive, but then it had an incredibly huge drop off. And I think, good or bad, and Jason is not to blame for this, I do think he has a solid fan base. I do think he's very, very good as Aquaman. And if you put aside the Amber Heard issue, I want to stress I don't like Amber Heard, but for those fans who are going to ignore it, because Ant-Man 3 was also very disappointing, but again, at this point, the DCU is just filled with failures. So overall, box office wise, Aquaman has done better than The Flash and Black Adam, but ultimately it's unclear it will even be profitable. I am not going to do a full review here, but my basic cut would be it is kind of a 6 out of 10 film. It is a lot of dumb fun, and in terms of the Amber issue, she's not diminished entirely. She is there, but some people are saying she's a very significant part of the film. I hate her. She is not a significant part of this film. She's in a couple of critical scenes. That's about it. So I do think they listened to the fans and tried to diminish her role as much as possible. I would have preferred that they got rid of her and just recast the role entirely, maybe with Emilia Clarke. But as it is, it's annoying to have her there, but she doesn't destroy the film. I think the film overall just has many, many, many issues. Apparently Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton were supposed to show up using the Batman persona, and that would have been interesting. But as it is now, it's a very uneven, weird kind of action comedy. And although I don't hate Yaya, I just don't like this version of Black Manta. I wish they went with a different version. And even the collective star power of Jason, Patrick, and even Nicole Kidman really can't do enough to save this film. It's a huge drop off in quality. It does work in a few places comedically, but overall, yeah, this is a huge step down from the first film. I think it would have been wiser just to get rid of Amber Heard, but for whatever reason, Elon Musk decided to intervene and save her career. But even if we didn't have Amber, the film as it's given to us now is just not very strong. So with the Amber issue, I cannot in good faith tell people to go see it in theaters, and I literally just stepped outside. Usually for me, during Christmas, I just don't like going out because I'm on the East Coast. It is insanely cold sometimes, but it was okay actually, so if I had more money and more time, which I don't, but if I did, maybe I might be tempted to see something like this. But given Amber Heard, no, I'm not interested. So Amber definitely did a lot of damage, and I do believe Johnny Depp. I don't believe her. So they really did sacrifice a huge part of the fandom for whatever reason. But still, internationally, it is doing strong. So maybe it will break even, just to be fair to the facts. But still, it does unnecessarily, I think, close the DCU in a very, very sour way. So overall, a dumb action film, not the worst film, but its performance is kind of proportionate with its quality, which is barely okay.